Hey, this is Coach Mike at Raw Fitness. I wanted to come to you today with some practical means for getting athletes, getting soccer players stronger, whether it be at home in the gym or even on the pitch where there is no equipment really available at all. So here's a few progressions that we use here. Obviously, as the athlete does get stronger, it does limit you a little bit as far as not having external load or weight to use, but you can still get a lot of bang for your buck. Most of the kids that we train here really have no proper resistance training when they come to us, and would have benefited greatly from their coaches instilling these exercises as part of their fitness portion of their practices and such. So the first progression I'm going to teach you guys is just a standard split squat. And I think the way that you coach these things is critical, so that you're getting most of these kids to be able to do these things correctly. If you're coaching a team of 15 to 18 kids, you want to be able to demo this stuff and have 14 out of 15 get it right. And if you've been coaching kids, you know how that if you don't coach it well, odds are that those numbers will flip around and then we're going to have a lot of fixing to do. So for the split squat, the way we teach it is bottoms up. So we will actually have the athlete in a half kneeling position. So we've got about a 90-degree angle here at the knee, but I want the knee to go slightly in front of the ankle, but not way in front of the toes is key. And then the back leg, the knee almost comes straight down from ear, hip, right to the knee. From that position, we would instruct the athlete to lean forward slightly and put all of their weight on their lead leg. And then with that lead leg, they're just going to drive the heel into the ground and bring themselves up. Now here's their posture. Right? So for the split squat, what we're doing is we're not going all the way back down to the ground, but we have the athlete dropping the back knee down close, pausing right before the floor, pushing through the heel of the lead leg, and then coming right back up. If you have the athlete do these nice and slow and controlled with a pause at the bottom, you will find that they are very challenging for them at first. Particularly you start them in a 12 to 15 rep range, as usually where we'll start out beginners doing something like that. And so we're building some stability. It's primarily on one leg. You will want to make sure they put the focus and the weight on the lead leg. A lot of kids will lean into that back leg, and that back leg will be the working one, and that's counterproductive, so I would just check for that. If you're doing split squats, they're getting really easy for a majority of the kids, and there's no way to progress them with weights. We go to what's called a rear foot elevated split squat, or also known as a Bulgarian squat. If you were on YouTube, you hit Bulgarian squat, this will come up. And now this one would require, it's handy if you have a bench. This one's about 14 inches high, from 14 to 18 inches is a pretty good height. Most pitches, you've got some kind of bench on it that you can use. Sometimes I've been out to practice fields where there's really not that option, in which there's a way that you can actually have the players assist one another in doing this drill. But I'll show this one same way as we teach it, bottoms up, so they find that bottom position a little bit easier. It's easier to maneuver. So what we'll have them do here is they'll kneel with one foot back onto the bench, and then we'll have them start the same way, almost with a 90-degree here, and then be able to lean forward so the knee goes in front of the ankle but not in front of the toes. And now they're going to put 90% of their weight on their lead leg, and then they're going to come up right here. And so now what they're going to do is just lower themselves down. Again, knee comes close to the ground but doesn't touch. You want to get that thigh to break parallel to the ground, driving through that heel and coming up. You don't want them to come up onto their toes. Okay? We don't want them to pitch really far forward here. We should have a good acceleration, lean forward, but ear, hip, back knee should be close to a straight line, if not one, while doing these. Again, slow and controlled, pause at the bottom. They can come up quickly is okay, but slow and controlled to really build stability and start to create some new muscle fibers where this athlete can get a lot stronger from there. So that would be our second progression. And then our third progression, which is a lot more advanced, I would say, depending on the height, and again, it would need a bench, would be to do a single leg squat. So single leg squat, it's a balance squat. We will have the athlete stand very close to the bench is essential. If they're too far away, they won't feel comfortable squatting back to it. So they'll stand pretty much with their calves or heels flush with the edge of the bench. and then they'll just stand upright, bend one knee up, and we want them to initiate the squat with their hips. So the hips need to drop back. They're going to try and maintain a pretty straight line from head to hip. You can use your hands out as a counterbalance and then come back up. The key here is that they are slow and controlled into the bench. Little pause, drive up. They should not plop. If you're seeing this, you want to find some way to elevate that up for them. So, I mean, you can do anything from, you know, putting any kind of like practice equipment, a stack of pennies, I don't know, whatever you've got out there, just get them several inches, find a higher bench that they can squat to. We're just having them do them in the air and not actually touch anything, worst case scenario. But these are really difficult. It's a lot of single leg strength. Most people cannot do these right off the bat. But like I said, you've done split squats for, you know, a month. You've done rear foot elevated squats consistently for a month. And now maybe you can start some of these balanced squats. So there's 3 great single leg progressions. Remember, most of soccer is played, one leg is on contact with the ground at the same time. It's very rare that we're using both feet. Perhaps just a jump, hit a head or something like that. But it's usually played on single. It's usually played single leg. So we like to train single leg as well. Hope you found these valuable, and I'll be back with some more tips.